Hey guys, welcome to vlog number 5. This vlog is also dealing with engaging ideas, Bean's book. I just have enjoyed reading this book this week, and it provides such incredible practical activities for us to do in the classroom, as well as I like that Bean goes through each of the topics and he tells us his own experience. Like, he's very vulnerable, he's very open with what he does, why he does it, why he believes certain ways. And I think as an instructor, that really has challenged me, because it does make me realize the importance of having a reasoning for everything you do. And I think that Bean really challenges our thinking in that. One of the things that I just really enjoyed about chapter 14, dealing with rubrics, is that I do like rubrics. Actually, I wrote my master's thesis in rubrics and why they should be used in the writing classroom. But I really liked how Bean talks about his approach and his method for using rubrics, which is actually different than the way that I've used rubrics. And so he actually tells us about what he calls the left brain to right brain method. And this is a method that he actually uses both like holistic grading as well as the actual rubric grading. And so how does it work? Well, he starts with just reading a few papers just to kind of get a sampling of what is being written. After that, then he goes back and he actually begins with one paper at a time. And so he does write marginal comments on the side of the paper that address the content or things that he notices about their writing. Which then at the end of the paper, once he has read through the whole paper, he then assigns the paper a holistic right brain grade. And this is kind of based off like his own gut, like what he feels this paper really represents. And so it could fall anywhere between that A to F scale. And he states that this is just a provisional grade that is very lightly written in pencil at the corner of the paper. Now, then he does write an ending comment with strengths of the paper and maybe recommendations for how the student can revise. But then he goes and attaches the rubric for that assignment and begins to circle the different scores for the various categories. Now, he does this because he just read through the paper and he's able to go ahead and analyze how the student did in each of the categories, whether that was organization or use of evidence or content or mechanics. But he does not sum up the totals yet, and then he just moves on to the next paper. What's interesting is that after he has done all the papers, then he goes back and does add up the scores. Now, this is the whole discussion on page 281 that is very interesting, because he then realizes that now he has what he calls that right brain grade versus the left brain grade. That's really hard to say. But again, that right brain grade would represent kind of like the holistic approach to that paper. And he's able to use that as a way to kind of see, well, why does my gut tell me that this paper resembles this? But he's able to compare it with that left brain grade that actually adds up the numbers. Now, in his mind, he's able to then use the two scores to kind of compare how he looks at the other papers. And so it may be if two papers ended up getting the same kind of grade based off the rubric, but then he assigned them a different holistic grade, he looks at that as, well, why did I do that? And maybe one paper just had better content or was more effectively developed that maybe couldn't be resembled on the rubric. And so I think what he says as far as the strengths of this, I do agree with that. I think it looks very interesting because it's a combination of both of those grades, and it creates fairer grading. I think in my own experience, I think that would be a very interesting way of looking at papers, because it would allow you to have two scores, and let's say you assign an A- and a B in the other. Well, that may say that maybe that paper is actually a B+, and I think that is kind of a great way to kind of engage yourself with that. Now, he does say that it does tend to be time consuming because you are kind of doing an extra process, but again, I think his emphasis is on fair grading, and I think that is a great way that students can feel more comfortable. I love how he states that he never gets students complaining about the various numbers that are assigned to the papers, and this is mainly because he uses the way that the rubric works is that he uses just actual letter grades. And so I think that those are just a few ways that I think this chapter was very helpful. I would love to incorporate some of this into my own writing. What do you guys think about it? Like, do you guys favor one method over the other, or would you say that you're maybe more prone to like stay away from rubrics, or would you actually consider using them this way? So let me know what you think, and I'm excited about maybe implementing this into my own classroom. All right, guys, have an awesome day. Bye-bye.